Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you're well and had a really good weekend. It seems extraordinary to me, but this is actually the last of my Monday assemblies before the half-term break, the Trinity Exeat. So I don't know where all the weeks have gone, but they have gone, and we find ourselves at the end of this really bizarre half-term where we've had a whole half-term of remote learning. And I know that's been really challenging for you. However good the provision might be, we're absolutely aware that it's a real challenge for you at home. And as the weeks go by, it gets more and more challenging. So, well done, and do have a really good rest when it comes and a good break. But I wanted to update you this morning on a few of the government announcements because you'll be aware of them. You may well have read the letter that I sent to your parents just before the weekend, and I wanted the chance just to talk you through that in person. So you'll know that the government has asked us to facilitate the return immediately after Exeat from the 1st of June of nursery reception year 1 and year 6 pupils from the junior school. And we're going to do that. We're going to support the government's wish there. There are a lot of things that we need to do to get the site ready for that return of those very young and vulnerable children. Lots of practical considerations to keep our staff safe, to keep the children safe. But it will, we think, be a really good thing because it means that we can start to think through what the implications are of a broader return to school for you and other children throughout the school, to really think through what are the implications of this and how can we do it as successfully as possible. So we're starting now to really think, how can we get the school open? But you'll also be aware that in the senior school, the picture from the government, I'm afraid, does make it look now almost certain that years 7 to 9 will not return before the summer. And I know that for many of you, that's going to be really horrendous news. You don't want to stay at home for more weeks until the summer holiday. It's the last thing you want. And I know that many of you will be really devastated by that. What you want to be able to do is to come back to school, to see your teachers, to see your friends, and for things to get back to normal. And it's really disappointing. And it's really disappointing for you, and it's really disappointing for us too. We want to see you. But we just can't do that, and we just have to remain strong, carry on as best we can, and to get through to the summer and all work towards this form of return, which we very much hope will happen in September. And in the meantime, of course, remember that you have full access to all of those, all of our remote learning, the teaching, the courses, the course content, the pastoral support, the co-curricular program, all of it is fully available to you, so continue to make use of it. Because we know now that that is the likely outcome, we have taken a couple of other decisions. So there will be no formal internal examinations week this year for years 7 to 9. Okay, no formal examinations week. Having said that, it is highly likely that teachers will want to do open book tests with you when we return after the Exeat break. So they'll want to do some tests as much as anything else so that you can feel like you've ended the year showing what it is that you've learned and what it is that you're able to demonstrate. So there will be likely be some open book tests from home, but no formal examinations week for you to prepare for. The only caveat to that is those of you in year 9, who obviously will be going into year 10 next year and therefore starting GCSE courses, and some of you will have started GCSE content in certain subjects this year. Now, you probably will have a more formal testing arrangement next term, in Michaelmas term, so that you have a reliable grade, so you know where you are in your GCSE courses right at the beginning of them. So for those of you in year 9, you should be mindful of the fact that there will be some form of more formal testing happening next term, and it would be helpful for you to be revising for that over the summer. So more details for that will come out next half term, but otherwise there is no formal internal examination week for you. Also in years 7 to 9, we're modifying our approach next half term. So formal teaching will only be for the first 3 weeks of that half term. Why is that? Because, of course, normally in that half term, you would have Adventure Week, Festival Week, all those other things, which means that the amount of teaching actually is significantly reduced anyway. So we are just going to do 3 weeks of formal teaching. And then in the last 2 weeks, we will do some sort of enrichment project work for you, which we hope you'll really enjoy. That's the purpose of it, so that you can really enjoy it and not have the pressure of that regularity of, and I know you found it quite relentless, normal teaching. So So there's quite a slight shift there in the way that we're going to approach the second half of term for years 7 to 9. For year 10 to 12, teaching will continue all the way through that half term remotely. Now, you will have heard from the government that they are keen for year 10 and year 12 to try and get them back into school at some point before the summer. I want to be very careful about that. I don't want to rush at it. And there are a number of reasons for that. I just want to explain to you why I'm not going to rush at it. The main reason for that is we know that our remote learning for you, year 10 and year 12, is going really well. Largely speaking, it's going really well. You're getting a really good experience. If I start to bring you back in, I will only be able to do so in small groups. And the risk of that is that actually you end up getting a worse situation, a worse quality education, and those who can't come in for whatever reason actually don't get the quality remote education that they have been getting up until this point. So I want to be really careful that we don't do something that actually makes our current system that's working really well get even worse. That would be silly. So we're not going to do that. But what I will look at is from the middle of June, bringing year 10 and year 12 into the college in small groups for targeted activities. So this will be things like, in the case of year 12, it will be things like higher education support, Oxbridge support sessions. Year 10, some targeted catch-up work. People who are struggling in certain subjects, we might put on certain small group activities there. We'll also potentially give you access to your tutor or pastoral support in small groups. And by doing it like that, we hope that we'll be able to both maintain the quality of the remote education provision, but also give you that opportunity to access teachers and support in small groups, which we know you would appreciate and we think would be good. So we're looking to try and strike the right balance there, but nothing's going to happen until the middle of June. Wait for announcements really at the beginning of next term. Now, for your exams, there will be exams. And at the moment, we're looking at potentially doing those exams in the middle to end of August. So across the summer holidays, when we're looking at doing them, I'm not going to formally say that's what we're doing for sure at the moment because things keep changing. But at the moment, that's what we're looking to do. So more information again will come around on that because you will need to know exactly what it is that you need to revise over the summer for your formal exams. But we need those exams. You need those exams because you need to know where you are going into your final years of study. For year 12, it's really important exam for your UCAS predictions. So there's lots of good reasons as to why we do need to test you formally, but we think the best way of doing that is over the summer. So I hope that makes sense for everybody as to how we're approaching the second half of term. For year 11, we're going to continue for another 3 weeks with your enrichment courses. They've gone really well. We don't want to stop that. So we're going to do 3 more weeks for you over the course of next half term. And for those 3 weeks, you will also be joined by the external pupils who are joining our sixth form. So those from other schools will also be joining in those courses as well after half term. So that's really exciting. Just a few other bits of news before I leave you for the last week of this half term. The building keeps going, you'll be pleased to hear. It's actually coming out of the ground now. So if you look on social media and on the website, you'll see it really starting to take shape, which is very, very exciting. Commemoration Day this Friday is just, I'm afraid, going to have to be a normal school day because we can't obviously do that. But we are putting together a virtual Commemoration Day video. So hopefully, I hope you'll tune into that and watch that at some point. The chaplain's coordinating it, so that's exciting for us. And lastly, I just wanted to let you know that Mrs. McClellan, who obviously you know her, she's our deputy head, pastoral, and responsible for safeguarding and well-being of all the children. She leaves us at the end of this week to go on maternity leave. So I know you'll want to wish her very well with all of that, and we will of course see her again. But in the meantime, Mrs. Davies, currently head of lower school, she is going to be acting deputy head pastoral, so taking Miss McClellan's role while she's away, and Miss Carnot Golds will be taking on the head of lower school. So that's some changes that are happening straight away from the end of this week. Okay, so I thought you ought to know about that. So lastly from me, thank you very, very much again for your patience and your resolve throughout the course of this half term. Well done, and have a really good break over the EXIAT half term break, and I look forward to speaking with you on that first Monday back.